Good afternoon, folks. Robert Chappell here, Executive Editor at Madison365 with your daily update for today, which is Tuesday, December 7th. Decided not to do a show yesterday because there was literally no data out of DHS, and I know most of you watch this show to get your COVID update. We still don't have that, but what we do have, I have to let you know that yesterday was supposed to be Metcalf's Monday, but since we didn't do a show, today is Metcalf's, we'll call it Metcalf's Tuesday. Metcalf's is a fourth-generation, family-owned and operated market with stores in Madison at Hilldale Mall and behind the Westtown Mall, and another in Wauwatosa at 68th and State. Right now, they're stocked with everything you'll need for an amazing holiday meal. Local hams, roasts, turkeys, all the sides. Don't forget dessert. And you can order for pickup or delivery anytime at shopmetcalfs.com, which you probably want to do because Omicron is here, guys. It's in Wisconsin. Not huge numbers yet, but that the variant that was first discovered in South Africa, it didn't come from South Africa, but was discovered in South Africa. At least one case has been discovered here in Milwaukee County. There are 5 cases in California with ties to a Wisconsin wedding. You knew that already, probably. It's a couple of days old. So it's here. It's going to get bad. It is bad, whatever. Now, we have not seen any new data from the State Department of Health Services since Friday. They've said on social media the last 2 days that they're having some issues getting the data processed. I don't know if it's what exactly is going on. But what they've said is that the numbers for these next few days might be artificially low. Which today, 0 is pretty low. But it's the website, their dashboard says it's updated 12/3. So they're not pretending to be updated data at this point. You click around a little bit, you look at vaccines, and you look at variants, and you look at all sorts of other measures, and they're all just have been updated on Friday. Nothing there. Now, one piece of data that we do have that doesn't look good at all is hospitalizations, because that data is curated outside of DHS. At the Wisconsin Hospital Association keeps this data and makes it public for us, which is they don't have to do, which is really nice. But that data today looks very bad. 1,630 people currently hospitalized. That's a jump of 68 since yesterday. That's a jump of nearly 200 since Friday. In fact, it's 212 more than a week ago. 418 of those are in intensive care. That's up 11 since yesterday. That's up 25 since a week ago. What that means is that there are very few ICU beds available right now. 37 in the entire state of Wisconsin. Out of normally, well over 1,300. There's one ICU bed available in the Fox Valley region. There are 0 intermediate care beds, 0 surgical beds, medical beds, and only 10 negative flow isolation beds in the entire Fox Valley region. That is 7 counties. Right now, there are in the Northeast region, which is kind of like Marinette County all the way down through Green Bay, Door County, Sheboygan, Manitowoc, 6 ICU beds available. This is Green Bay. This is the 3rd largest city in the state. 6 ICU beds available, 0 intermediate care beds available, 8 medical surgical beds available. In the Western region, which is another one that was having real trouble earlier last week, rather. Entire Western region, which is like La Crosse, Eau Claire, those cities, 0 ICU beds available, 0 intermediate care beds available, and 23 medical surgical beds and 13 negative flow isolation beds. That's not great. Southeast Wisconsin, which is Milwaukee, not much better. 15 ICU beds available, but that's for Milwaukee, right? 8 intermediate care beds available, and 25 medical surgical beds. That's out of 2,200, almost 2,300 usually. That's like 1% is still available. It's like less than 1% of the ICU beds available. So also not good at all. We'll check South Central, which is where Dane County is, which is basically from Columbia County all the way over to Grant County in the west. So it's kind of south central and southwestern combined. 13 ICU beds available out of normally 260 would be available. So that's 5% are currently available, which is much better here. Also worth noting, vaccination rates are much higher here than in other parts of the state. And for hospitalizations are slightly better. Only 4 in immediate care beds available, however, in this entire region. So none of that is good news. And again, if that's any indicator of what the state DHS numbers are going to look like, I'm keeping in mind that hospitalizations are lagged by about a week or two. People get sick, test positive, then they get more sick and have to go to the hospital. So it's like these hospitalizations, people going into the hospital now caught COVID a week ago, probably. Some of them didn't test probably until they got to the hospital, right? But it's not good news. Any way you look at it, it's just not good news that this many people in the hospital. There is no talk anywhere about an overflow capability. It seems to me that even though there's an increasing COVID population, the ICU population overall has decreased slightly. So I think in some places they're either discharging people quickly, trying to get people out of ICUs to make room, or canceling surgeries. Because one thing that happens with ICU is if you have a surgery, you spend a day in ICU, depending on the surgery, right? So you might have like a knee replacement, which is a relatively major surgery. And then you have to spend like a day or half a day in an ICU bed. So they're postponing some of those kind of surgeries so that to keep the ICU beds open, right? So that's basically all we know about COVID right now. We don't know anything about spread numbers. We didn't know anything about positive test rate. We don't know anything more about vaccines, except vaccines have been up. We know vaccines are on the way up just as kids are getting vaccinated. We don't know anything else about really anything else at all, COVID-wise, because the state is having these computer problems. This is one of the downfalls of obsessing over this data every day. When you don't have it for 2 days, you're like, where's my data? So anyway, I do have some other news to talk about, though, but we'll keep it short here, and we don't have an ad or anything to break to. But I will tell you that on the site today we have a couple of stories you might want to look at. One from yesterday: Sasha Debevic McKenney is a poet. She's a poet. She's on a fellowship at the University of Wisconsin. She just finished her MFA last year at NYU. She's from Connecticut. Her mother grew up on a dairy farm, and so she came to Wisconsin looking to lead that life. Went to Bullitt College, moved to Madison for a few years, went to NYU, is back in Madison with UW. And she also is now the artist in residence at Starting Block, which is a entrepreneurship hub, sort of a startup incubator type space in the Spark building on East Washington Avenue. They're really leaning into the arts. They're really leaning into diversity. So they connected with Dane Arts. They've got some gallery space there. They've got some visual arts there, that they've got through Dane Arts. But they've also got this residence program now where Sasha now has like an office where she can go work and write poems. And it's really important that kind of work be taken seriously. And our reporter, Louis Acosta Jr., spoke with Mark Yarmouth there at Starting Block, has a really nice profile on her and how she works, where her poetry comes from. It's all very interesting. I would commend you to read it. It's a good piece. So that's Sasha Debevic McKenney. The other piece we'll mention today is yesterday was Mike Ford Day. At Cass Tech High School in Detroit, Michigan. You might have heard of Mike Ford. He's the hip hop architect. That's him there on the left. He has been stayed engaged with his alma mater. Cass Tech is it's a magnet high school in Detroit, Michigan. It's mostly black. It's very high achieving. You really have to have good grades to even get in. It's a public high school. It's a charter school, basically. But it is very high standards, very, you can't have any discipline problems. You got to be able to keep a certain grade point. And they have several tracks that other schools don't have, other high schools don't have. You can be an engineering major at this high school, basically. Mike Ford is an architect, so he has supported the architecture program over there. And in the past couple of years, he's partnered with a design company called Herman Miller to give some money to some architecture students to get to college, and therefore pursue a career in architecture, which very few Black people have done historically. So, he brings that, his hip hop aesthetic to that, to architecture, thinking about the ways that Black kids, Black youth, Black architects can rethink the way our neighborhoods are designed, where our communities are designed, the way their environment is built around them. You don't think, as a white person, I don't think about architecture as being racist, right? Or race even being involved in design of things, but it is. Of course it is. It is. It's racist and everything. So Mike has been really leaning into that. He started the hip hop architecture camp 4 years ago now in Madison. It's gone all global. So he was in. So anyway, his school that he went to, he graduated in 2001. Has Mike Ford Day, where he comes back and talks to kids and whatever. And he surprised this young lady, Sasha Shaw Nichols, with a $10,000 scholarship to go to college. He's got video. If you go to Madison365.org, you can see the Facebook Live video. It was very windy, so you can't really hear very well. But you can see her and wondering why she's been pulled out of class, why her dad is at school, until he unveils that she's got this $10,000 scholarship for her to go to whatever college she wants to pursue a career in architecture, which is fantastic. And she was identified by the school. He said, I trust you. Find me the best architecture student to invest in. And Herman Miller has been working with Mike for a couple of years on a couple of different initiatives, put up the money for it. So that's all. It's just a good story. So that's what I have for you today. Visit Madison365.org whenever you want to check out the latest news. Go to Madison365.org/thefam to support what we do. Right? It's free for you, but it's not free for us. So if you can throw a few dollars our way, Newsmatch, Institute for Nonprofit News, will match any donations you make between now and the end of the year. You can't go wrong. Now's the time to do it. So thank you for tuning in. Have a wonderful evening, and we will be back tomorrow, hopefully with some data for you. If not, we'll just bring you more news, and it'll be fine. All right, have a great night. We'll talk to you soon.
This is 365 Media.